Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
It's a Cage Minds takeover. Get well soon, Leroy. Hopefully he'll be back next week. If not, again, I'll have it covered, right? All combat sports today, talking about people getting punched in the face, because this is the place where we do that. So let's get right to it, Alden. If we can, we'll start off with last weekend's highlights. There was a lot of action, MMA and boxing-wise. Start off from UFC Fight Pass. A shocker there. As unbeaten, no longer, the Brazilian pulls off the upset. In WSOF action, you have a stunning flying knee knockout. Damon Jackson only lasts 10 seconds against Medblad Kavavad. You had Luis Rafael with a head kick followed by a couple punches, taking care of Jeremy Kennedy. And in the main event, Lance Palmer uses wrestling to defeat Alex Gilpin. Taylor Lapalus, Mandy Bloom, and Cyril Kane walk away with gold at TKO 48, picking up titles. From Access TV and LFA 67, it was Solo Hatley Jr., that big left hand, puts down TJ Britton, follow-up punches for the finish. It was a head kick turning out the lights of Ken Beverly, the big victory by TJ Brown. And in the main event, Daniel James took down and smashed Patrick Martin. Polaris 10 action. Uriah Faber, well, more news on him in a minute, lost a decision to Nicky Ryan. CM Punk was doing commentary for CFFC as Miranda Granger wins by submission, picking up the inaugural strawweight title. Inside the boxing ring, Jamel Herrig by decision is the new WBO junior lightweight champion, dethroning Matsuaki Ito. And then on FS1, Austin Trout, Terrell Gachet, it was back, it was forth, it was even. The judges had it all over the place. One had it down the middle, 2 had it one way and the other way. And in the end, it was a big fight, and it ends as a draw. So where does that leave Austin Trout? It was a big return for him. According to one judge, he got dominated. According to another judge, he dominated. According to the third judge, it was an even contest. According to my eyes, I thought it was a really good fight. Right now, it still shows that Trout can contend with the best. I saw improvements with the new training, with everything he did, switching up his camp and going to Las Vegas and working with the Mayweather team. It wasn't enough to get the victory, but it really was a good performance, a hard fight to judge either way. That was last week's stuff. Coming up this week, there's a lot of action. We have a slideshow for that also to talk about the action that's even getting started tonight. So, if we could play that one. Tonight, it's Warrior Way Wednesday on UFC Fight Pass. The main event is a 165-pound bat, Justin James versus James Warfield. You have Friday night, Cage Warriors 105 on UFC Fight Pass. Sean Carter versus Tim Barrett is the main event. That's a lightweight bout. Also on Friday, UFC Fight Pass, you have CES 56 featherweight title. Bruce Boynton defends against Dan DeQuain, also Nick Newell on that card. You have Ring of Combat, also Friday on UFC Fight Pass, another featherweight title fight, Frank Benefonte versus John De Jesus, not to mention UFC vet George Sullivan on that card. Friday night, Access TV has LFA 68, Rufian Stotts versus Ralph Acosta in the co-main event. And yes, the main event, Nate Jennerman versus Rafael Barrosa. You have UFC action from Sweden Saturday morning, where you have Volkan Oezdemir, Alair Latifi in the co-main event, Anthony Smith, Volkan Oezdemir in the main event. It is moving day in Sweden for the light heavyweight division Saturday morning on ESPN+. Boxing action Saturday, you have on ESPN+, Jay Harris versus Angel Morana, a vacant European flyweight title. Then you have Cullum Smith on DAZN versus Hassan Dayon for Smith's WBO super middleweight title. Headliner of that card is the big one. All the heavyweight titles are on the line. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. Saturday night, you also have boxing on FS1, Fox Deportes, Devon Alexander versus Ivan Reda. It's a 10-rounder, and they are welterweights. Moving on to Monday, you have more absolute Muay Thai action on UFC Fight Pass. So you got some MMA, a huge boxing event. I mean, Anthony Joshua, everybody wants to know, can he equal the performance that Deontay Wilder had back a couple weekends ago? It's a game of one-upsmanship for where the two of them are at. Tyson Fury can throw his name into the mix, and it was relevant there. Wooly had the draw with Deontay Wilder. But that one punch, cold knockout of Dominic Breazeale, puts Wilder back up there in the forefront. It's up to Anthony Joshua. We know he has the bigger fan base, but does he have the headlines? That's what he's going to attempt to do against an Andy Ruiz that is a huge underdog in this fight, being very underestimated. I saw Ruiz's last fight where he was able to take out a guy that had at least a foot in arm and a foot in height on him. That young Hispanic man is not to be underestimated. Do you really expect the knockout? No. But unbeaten versus unbeaten in Madison Square Garden, a heavyweight title fight. Hopefully we can get the heavyweight title fights that we really want to see in the future. But this is a good consolation prize at the point. And like I said, you warm it up in the morning with the UFC from Sweden, where you got a ton of great light heavyweight matchups, not to mention Devin Clark, who trains out of the Jackson Wink Academy here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A quick turnaround from his opponent getting injured in Russia, falling out on fight week, to getting transferred to this other international card in Sweden. So best of luck to Devin Clark. Now to close out this first segment, we're talking MMA, boxing, talking world title fights. There's one coming up June 8th. Jason Sanchez has a chance to shock the world if he can dethrone Oscar Valdez. And I recently went over to the Sanchez Brothers boxing gym to talk to Jason Sanchez, and we can roll that interview now. Caleb Ramirez joining us. Sir, heard at WFC 106. It's going to be one more amateur run, a title on the line, taking on Joey McKay. You keep trying to leave this this portion. June 8th, Jason Sanchez is in a world title fight. Going to be taking on Oscar Valdez for the WBO belt. How do you process getting this opportunity, a dream coming true, when it canceled one fight that you were completely peaking and ready for? How did you take the whole notification that this was happening?
Well, it was crazy. First of all, I was really happy. I was training, you know, I was in shape, but it's just another opponent, so I just kept training, and that's it.
Does it play in your mind, did you even realize this is like the pinnacle to your dream? It's a world title fight.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's a dream come true. It's just something I've always been like, this is what I trained for, pretty much, a title shot, and I'm glad it finally came through.
And I think we talked about this with the last fight. Didn't it feel like a whirlwind title fight kind of came up really quickly, and now this one comes up even quicker? How do you process the last year? What has it been like?
It's been just super busy. Just staying in the gym, just working hard.
It was probably an amazing moment for you, I know, when you got to leave your job and start full-time taking in boxing. And that's just been recently. Could you have ever imagined this fight, this opportunity would come up so quickly from just making that step?
Yeah, no. I mean, I knew it was gonna come here, sooner or later, but I wasn't expecting it to be this fast.
And what do you do to capture the moment, to take control of your destiny?
Just keep working hard, just stay smart in there, staying smart, focus, and that's it.
Head into this camp, basically with a full camp already in your pocket that you were already getting ready for when you got this fight. So what has this camp now been like this time since you knew the opponent was going to be Oscar Valdez?
Like the changes and stuff?
Well, how has it been this camp since knowing that it's Oscar?
Oh, it's been really great. We just switched up a little bit of stuff, and but still working hard.
And I heard you've had some new sparring partners for this one.
Yes, sir. That's right. I have two guys from Robert Garcia's boxing gym. They flew in, so I'm sparring with them, and they've really been helping me out.
So what's it like getting some other high-level looks that are fresh looks?
It's a really good experience, and I feel like it's gonna help me out a lot.
How much have you watched Oscar Valdez anyway, a guy in your weight class, somebody that has more experience than you? So how much have you been watching him just as a fan of the sport?
I've been watching him for a while before I even I was gonna fight him. Just the fact that he was in my weight, I always kind of try to check out everyone in my weight, so I've seen a lot of his fights.
And tell me about him. As a boxer, what do you see that he does well?
He's a strong puncher. He has good movement. I feel like he does drop his hands a lot, so he does get caught a lot. Yeah, that's it.
What do you have to be most aware of that he does? What do you have to, be most aware of from his offense?
I know he has a lot of good overhand hooks, so overhand right and overhand left hook. So I gotta be careful for those and just stay smart in there.
Where do you feel your advantages lie in this bout?
My advantages are just I'm younger. I feel like I'm hungrier. That's it.
Do you feel there's any advantages to the short notice aspect of this fight for you?
No, not at all. I feel like I'm ready. I've been training really, really hard. It doesn't matter really who they put in front of me. I always train as in it's the top of the top fighter, So I train my hardest, and it was a little sooner than I thought. So
obviously you're being called the underdog, but now that's 2 consecutive fights. How have you embraced that underdog role?
That doesn't really bother me at all. It just actually motivates me more to train harder. So it's just another fight.
What do you have to do to pull off what everybody will call the upset?
I gotta give it up my all. Just throw a lot of punches and just give it my all.
Talk about excitement for a little bit. I know you got to be excited for this opportunity.
No, yeah, I'm super excited. My family's excited. Everyone's excited. It's a great opportunity for me, and I'm gonna take advantage of it.
The spot you're in now, you already have the 1 title belt, this huge opportunity, and I know you're a family man. How have the kids motivated you through this camp? Because I know it's got to have been even just a little bit more looking at them, knowing what's on the line.
Yeah, no, for sure. They definitely motivate me. My girlfriend motivates me as well. She always has. She diets with me. She comes to the gym, supports me, and just looking at them and looking at my family, just being there, supporting me motivates me a lot.
And
What have you, your brother, your father said to each other about this opportunity, about this moment, something that as a family you guys have worked for so long?
We're just super happy we got an opportunity, and we just been working hard.
Awesome, Jason. Thank you for the time, sir.
Thank you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
My mind coming up this weekend. Also forgot to mention, in Japan, the other side of the world, you do have the next installment of the Rising Fighting Federation Atomweight title fight on the line. It's a super fight, actually. The Rising Women's Atomweight champion Ayaka Yamasaka taking on the Invicta FC Atomweight champion Jin Yu Frey. They fought once fight was ended early. Hamasaka came out victorious. They look to settle the grudge. It's a women's super fight there in Japan. Ton of UFC vets are also on the card. You saw, before we went to break, a snippet of an interview with Caleb Ramirez. You saw the full interview with Jason Sanchez. Both are in action next weekend, June 8th in Reno, Nevada. Caleb Ramirez for World Fighting Federation 106, and Jason Sanchez there in the boxing ring for Top Rank Boxing, fighting for the WBO world title. Not to mention, Buffalo Thunder will be hosting Southwest MMA Series 28. Jess Martinez, Josh Adalum in the main event. A little bit of changes going on with the rest of the card. We'll have that update, cageminds.com, hopefully by the end of the day, including, we've already mentioned on the Facebook page, a broken nose in 3 places has knocked Josh Montoya out of the co-main event with Frank Baca. Unfortunately, that happened, and if you wanted to hear both of them talk about the upcoming fight that won't happen, you can go to cageminds.com. We had got words from both of them. Also keeping up with the local scene, June 28th, Combates America, their official promotional debut here in the Land of Enchantment, the Santa Ana Star Center in Rio Rancho, as Andres the Bullet Quintana, the Copa Combate featherweight $100,000 one-night tournament winner, will be looking to become the inaugural featherweight champion against the man he beat in the Copa Combate semifinals, Bruno Canetti. Canetti disputed the stoppage, and that is why also he was able to hurt Quintana with a punch, is why he got elevated up into this championship status. So don't forget, that is June 28th. And then coming July 20th, boxing right here back on ProView Networks, Tingley Coliseum, Night of Champions, Legacy Boxing Promotions, a WBC Silver Latino title on the line. Josh Pitbull Torres in the main event there. Not to mention Matthew Papitas Escobar in the co-main event against Luis Luna. And Josh Torres is taking on Alfonso Olvera. Wanted to make sure I mentioned that for you guys. Also in some news and notes going on around the world. That was our local stuff. Now I'd head outside the world and look at some bigger things, some UFC news. The UFC making some strange cuts. Top 15 ranked heavyweight Justin Willis. Top 15 ranked middleweight Elias Theodoro. And top 15 ranked flyweight Wilson Hess have all been released from the promotion. Willis reportedly was released for an unwillingness to sign an upcoming contract, not wanting to face a lower ranked opponent as he was in the rankings and wanted to shoot upwards in trajectory instead of looking back. Theodoro is released coming off of a lackluster performance in a co-main event UFC Fight Night there in his home nation of Canada against Derek Brunson. Brunson wins a decision. The home crowd is booing Theodoro. It was a lackluster performance. Theodoro is a tactician who is very hesitant to engage in big brawls, not the ultra exciting fighter, and that has landed him looking for a new promotional home. Theodoro also, though, has big fame from, yes, shampoo commercials, modeling endorsements, and being the Invicta FC ring boy. I'm pretty sure he's going to land on his feet. Wilson Hess, a top 15 ranked flyweight former title challenger. He's on the outs also, probably looking to move back up to 125 pounds unless he's looking to go to one championship or Brave. That's the biggest options for flyweights not in America, with the UFC obviously dwindling that division down. But Hess had been on the decline, really had peaked in the win streak to get towards Demetrius Johnston and had been having a tough time of it since. In news concerning a UFC fighter, but not actually fighting, Yoel Romero won a giant lawsuit this week, $27 million in his favor after suing the supplement company that put a tainted supplement into his body. Romero was suspended some years ago for a USADA violation. He tested positive for a substance that was in the supplement. Obviously, it was something not on the label. He did not know that he was putting that substance into his body, and subsequently took the correct legal action, pursuing the lawsuit, and comes out hugely victorious. $27.45 million legislated or given to Yoel Romero. So that is a big win for him outside of the octagon. Talking about fights announced for the octagon, the itch to compete was too much to stay away from. Uriah Faber is back in the UFC. He'll be returning in July in Sacramento, and the UFC is giving him a big opportunity right out the gate. Top 15 ranked Ricky Simone, who has a plethora of skills and an amazing mullet, will face Uriah Faber there in Sacramento. That's some of the biggest news coming out of the UFC right now. The biggest news coming out of Bellator is they've officially announced the June 14th event back in Madison Square Garden is officially headlined by the welterweight Grand Prix semifinal world title fight between Rory McDonald and Neiman Gracie, and that declines the previously announced main event of Chael Sonnen, Lyoto Machida to the co-main event spot. The PFL is going on. You can catch them every other Thursday on ESPN2 and UFC Plus. So there's a lot going on. We already talked about what's going on this weekend. You got Sweden, you got the heavyweight title fight. Tell you about Access TV coming up Friday night. And as we did a minute ago, we're going to show you a little bit more of that interview with Caleb Ramirez, who's in action next weekend looking to cap off his amateur career with a featherweight title. So we'll take it to Caleb Ramirez talking about his upcoming fight as we leave this week's episode. And next week we'll have Red Menace back in its normal known state, quite possibly for you guys. If not, you know I got it. Thanks for watching this week.
It's mental training with Dr. Roman Velasquez out of El Paso. Him and his son come out here from El Paso every weekend. They help me and the team here at Latrelli MMA with our cognitive function, hand-eye coordination, all that fun stuff. It's very challenging, but very fun at the same time.
Can you describe what was going on in some of those activities that we saw your videos online?
Yeah, you got to do. You have like 4 targets. These like look like tennis balls that are on the screen. There's four just like ghost targets. You have to keep track of them. They light up at first, and then it moves around, and you have these glasses that are different colors. That's what really throws you off. So you have to keep track of where the balls go. And once they stop, then you have to like call them out. And then another one is we do like a lot of hand-eye coordination, moving your head, moving your feet. You wear these glasses that like throw things off, so they kind of flash, like they shade. So like different speeds. So sometimes we'll be throwing stuff at you and having to move around. And yeah, it's very difficult. You know, a lot of things like trying to catch 2 things at once and throw them, and it's very challenging.
So what does a brain exercise feel like?
It feels like trying to do some sort of a test at school or something. You feel like okay, well, this is going, okay, what's that answer? What's that answer? You're like constantly looking for an answer, like, so it feels like you feel the brain working hard. You know, it feels like trying to take a test, if you want to call it anything.
And how do you feel it's helped?
To be honest, I feel like my hand-eye coordination is better. I'm able to move around and see things coming a little better. It's not magic, you know what I mean? Like, this, you know, but it is amazing, and it does help like immensely. I would say that I'm able to just see things coming a little better, and I can watch people's movement and be more focused as just because you're working your mind and not just your hands and your feet. You know, you feel much more confident in what you are practicing. You know, it's not just one thing. You're just adding another tool to the tool belt. So when you're on the job, you got the right tool for the right job. You're going to get the job done even easier and better.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement.